Under the cloak of a dark night, the village lay still in a suffocating silence. The wind howled like tormented spirits among the trees, and the cries of ravens filled the air, a harbinger of approaching doom. This secluded village, steeped in tales of Jinn and ancient curses, never imagined that their legends would transform into a living nightmare. It all began a few nights earlier when Adele, a daring young man who scoffed at the village's traditions, ventured into the forbidden forest. Tales spoke of a hidden treasure within its depths, guarded by creatures from another realm. Carrying only a lantern, Adele wandered through the twisted paths, where trees coiled like serpents and shadows seemed to move with him. Suddenly, he came upon a circle of arcane symbols carved into the earth around a blackened lake. Intrigued, Adele stepped closer, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and curiosity. The lake's surface was unnaturally still, appearing to devour the moonlight. Before he could retreat, a deep, bone-chilling whisper echoed, "You have freed us." In that instant, dark, viscous tendrils emerged from the water, wrapping around Adele's legs and dragging him into the abyss below. His screams pierced the night but reached no ears. The next morning, the village buzzed with fear and apprehension. Adele's disappearance was no ordinary mystery. The elders gathered in the village square, their faces lined with dread. They spoke of an ancient curse tied to the Black Lake, a seal that kept the Jinn trapped. Breaking it meant unleashing an unspeakable evil. As night fell once more, strange signs began to manifest. The air grew heavy, shadows deepened and seemed to watch from every corner. Children awoke screaming, speaking in voices not their own, uttering ancient words that no one could comprehend as their bodies contorted in unnatural ways. Doors slammed open and shut without wind, and disembodied whispers echoed throughout the village. By the third night, the situation had become desperate. The villagers gathered again, fear etched into every face, while Sheikh Abdullah, the eldest and most learned, arrived with ancient books and scrolls bearing protective incantations. He warned them that a battle was upon them, one that would pit humans against the unleashed wrath of the Jinn. When darkness enveloped the land, the attack began. From the forest's edge emerged the Jinn, their bodies blackened and burning with blue flames. Their faces were featureless except for glowing red eyes. Their chilling laughter echoed, freezing the blood in everyone's veins. Step by step, they advanced, surrounding the village. Suddenly, their screeches filled the air, and the ground trembled as though the world itself recoiled. The battle erupted. Men armed themselves with swords and ancient weapons, passed down through generations, fortified by the incantations of Sheikh Abdullah. But these were not ordinary foes. The Jinn wielded terrifying powers, casting curses that made the earth wrap around the villagers' feet and pull them down. Eyes of darkness opened in the sky, hurling bolts of fire upon the defenseless below. Hell had descended on earth. At the center of the village square, a towering Jinn with spear-like limbs fought a group of brave men, shattering their bodies with every strike. The sight was horrifying. Women and children screamed, but there was no escape. Then came the King of the Jinn, a massive figure surrounded by an aura of black fire. He stepped into the square, his voice a thunderous declaration that shook the ground. "Return the one who freed us, or suffer eternal destruction." Sheikh Abdullah stood firm, chanting ancient verses with all his might. A blue light emerged from his hands, forming a barrier against the darkness. The battle between light and shadow raged on, the hatred of the Jinn clashing with human resilience and faith. In a desperate act, Fatima, the Sheikh's daughter, ran forward with a blessed spear in hand and threw herself into the flames, driving the weapon into the Jinn King's chest. He roared in agony as a storm of fire and ash erupted, consuming him and dispelling the surrounding evil. As the dust settled, The surviving villagers collapsed, bloodied and grieving. The earth quieted and the darkness receded. Though they had won, it came at a devastating cost. The light had returned, but sorrow etched deep scars. They had witnessed horror in its purest form, a battle against the Jinn that would forever haunt their nights, retold in trembling voices under the very stars that had borne witness to their terror.